Ya estaba preocupada.
Perdona, he salido con mis amigas. Nos hemos pasado. ¿Esto para ti es un juego?
What was it like for you to work on the set of The Craft with these young actors in a story so connected to the new generations, Michelle?
Well, I really learned a lot, actually. I don't know if it's just their generation or, these particular actresses, but I found them to be so vivacious and like effervescent and so like connected to themselves, like in a way that I don't recall being like at their age. And so just on that level, I just found them kind of really enlightened in a way that I had not had that kind of experience with. So I was kind of in awe of them. And because their chemistry was so incredible, and I don't even really think they knew each other even prior to shooting, but I'm sure Zoe had something to do with that. I know they had rituals and ceremonies and things like that to connect, but I was really kind of blown away by their chemistry. And and then I'm just sort of not in the know about things anymore. So they'd be saying things like certain slang and I'd be like, what is that? So I actually just on like a very practical scale, I just learned from them and they were my teachers, so to speak.
That's nice. David, your character, Adam, is all about masculinity, toxic masculinity, power dynamics in a home dominated by men. How does that play into the narrative of the girls and Lily in particular and female empowerment?
Well, he's the foil to that, right? So he represents the old order, really. He represents status quo, and he represents someone who's trying to hold on to the status quo. But the smart thing about the script is that the male power only comes from the female. Like the male order only comes from being invigorated by the female power. So these men in this situation are trapped. And I think that, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, it's interesting because it's like, I would think that the men would want to get out of that situation as well. Everybody wants to be connected to their own particular power, male or female, and not use the other against the other. So I like to think that my character would live happily ever after, even though the movie would beg to differ. He learned his lesson.
Michelle, your character gives us the leitmotif in the film, your difference is your power. What does that phrase mean to you personally, and what do you think it can do for the young people who watch the film?
Well, I think, one of the things about growing up and experiencing adolescence is that we all kind of feel like an outsider in one way or another, and we all identify that with that in one way or another. And that's a very timeless and universal feeling, I think. And I think right now, specifically, there's a lot of people that are going through a lot of changes and challenges and are feeling exactly like that as an outsider. And I think what's so encouraging about this film and what is really resonating about this film, it's kind of really talks about our collective power and really celebrates our differences, really. And I think that's what we can do a lot more of globally, is celebrating our differences as well as at home in our own backyards. And I think people will feel, I think it'll really impact people in a positive way to see what a difference our collective voices make together, as opposed to being apart. So.
Like The Craft, a lot of movies and shows are coming back, from the past. What do you think we keep coming back to the 80s and the 90s? And do you think it's because we want to go back there, or is it because we want to make it better than it was before, David?
No, I don't think it's better or go back there, but I think it's like, and I'm not comparing it to Shakespeare, but it's like we constantly reinterpret are touchstones. We constantly reinterpret things that we grew up with, things that we thought we knew, and we bring them into the present, and we let it reflect on the present, and we let the present reflect onto the past that way. So I think it's very human. It's very natural, rather than like being a scavenger or looking to make something better or reanimate something that's no longer alive. Really, it's really a matter of looking at stuff through stuff that we know and getting a new perspective by looking at something through an old lens, in a way.
Well said, David.
I never thought of it before, but it's good.
It was a great answer. Well, thank you guys very much. I have to wrap it up. Not before, well, I show you this, David.
Oh,
I'm a huge fan. I had this.
Thank you. There's a new single coming out next week.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Es creértelo. Por eso los aquelarres son importantes. Si podemos hacer eso, ¿qué podremos hacer?